Hi, dreamers. I'm Percival.
And I'm Viviane.
And we are your hosts of the Dreamscape Chronicles.
If you would like to share a story for us to tell or come on the show and share it yourself, we welcome all dreamers to contact us at dreamscapechronicles@outlook.com. Have you ever felt it? That shift in the air, the veil between worlds thinning? Ever wonder why some things seem magnified late at night? Sounds of footsteps, scraping nails on the walls, and even whispers in the dark. For centuries, often around midnight or 3 a.m., it has been whispered about as a time of heightened spiritual activity. A time when magic is real and the unseen world draws closer. The legends, the lore, the terrifying stories that haunt the night. So join us as we embrace the darkness and explore the magic, the madness, and the mystery of the witching hour. Be sure to rate us and subscribe to the show so you never miss a tale from beyond the walls of sleep.
Welcome to the Witching Hour. All right, welcome back, everybody. It's Witching Hour, episode 3.
Witching Hour 3?
Yeah.
Because it's like episode, I don't know, like 20...
21.
Sure. That sounds good.
Today we have a special guest and a lifetime friend of mine, and he is the owner of Sacred Flux. It's Eric.
I feel like that deserved a drum roll.
Really appreciate you for bringing me on the podcast. I've been listening to every episode since you guys have started working on it, and just congratulations on what you're putting together. Like, it's really a neat thing to watch unfold.
I appreciate that, man, and we appreciate all the support, man. I know you've been listening to me consistently be like, hey, listen to this episode. I feel like I'm like a episode peddler at this point.
Totally understand it.
No. Shameless self-promotion.
But yeah, we go way back. I think I met you in 2nd or 3rd grade, possibly.
I think that's right. Yeah. I mean, I moved 30 minutes away to your school district, and yeah, man, we've known each other ever since then. You may go one place and I may go another, but we still end up eventually reconnecting.
Right, that's for sure. We've been friends as long as Digimon have been a thing.
Oh man, yeah, yep.
Yeah, what do you have for us, Viv? What were you? I know I said last week that I was going to talk about some specific stuff.
Yes, we're going to jump a little bit deeper down that rabbit hole.
Yeah.
I think we're going to start in on the near-death experience side of things here.
Okay. Well, why don't we go ahead and me and Eric here talk about some of our past and stuff like that.
I think that would be excellent.
Yeah, sweet. So I also moved to that school district probably around the same time you did. I was living with my grandparents prior to that. Yeah, we met through some mutual friends. I think playing Magic the Gathering.
You're probably right.
Oh man,
there was not a whole lot to do back then, so it was either be outside or the moment that the Southeast Texas heat. Like, once you could be inside, man, Magic the Gathering was a blessing
for sure. Unless we were in school and then it was the devil cards.
Oh God, most certainly. Yeah.
Around 96, right?
I got
it might have been a little later than that.
Yeah, somewhere around there. I'm sure someone will correct us. We always just kind of we had both the same interest. I think maybe it was just because of proximity, but you were fishing or hunting, or it was that kind of environment. And I have done this once or twice before and decided that I was genetically inclined to do artistic things and to look inward instead of running, jumping, climbing trees in the forest for food. Um,
100%, man. I
mm,
mean, I feel the
yeah,
same.
I feel like that was all we could really do. So it was like, hey, just started looking inward and kind of getting more interested in other things.
Yeah, I find that that's kind of how that stuff rolls.
Well, and it seems like you guys have a lot of experiences to kind of push that or drive that.
Yeah. Like we lived in a weird place because we were like half on the ghetto and half in the middle of the swamp. So,
Swamp ghetto.
Yeah, it's a really interesting environment, and that still to this day you have this weird. There's just a weird kind of vibe to the whole area because, like, historically it's been through a lot, and then that's kind of I don't know. It gives this place a weird lore. Like you don't appreciate it when you're away from it. But for instance, I may go and walk and see the same thing. It's sort of like when you have people that travel and they come down here and they paint these, crazy images of our swamps and things like that.
Yeah.
And they just bring this beauty to it that I don't really see because I see it all the time. So it's like, I don't know. It's just really interesting to experience that. Like, remove yourself from it and then come back to this area. It's just neat.
right.
Beauty is in the eye of the beholder.
Absolutely.
There's times I miss it down there and then I'm like, oh, mosquitoes and the heat and humidity.
Yeah, no, yeah, that's not fun.
It's really the nostalgia for me that thinking back being young and not having responsibility.
Absolutely. It's cool to hear some of your experiences when you're bringing up these areas. You're bringing up these little clips in your stories that are like, this was my experience there. And I'm like, that's really interesting because the places that you dream about or the places that you mention, I'm like, yeah, I absolutely remember that too. Like, it's interesting how those environments weave their way into our dreams.
100%. That is so funny that you just mentioned that word.
That is super funny.
We just got done recording our Dreamweaver episode.
Mm,
So that's
huh.
pretty ironic. It's a
Nice little
synchronicity
tie-in.
there.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So that means we're on the right path, I feel like.
Yeah.
It's a sign.
But yeah, I mean, from all the people who probably listen from our friend group anyways, you probably would be one of the ones who would understand the most because you did grow up in that same kind of area and you've seen the same things I've seen growing up. And it's just so
Right.
crazy how we had very similar experiences and like then
Yes. Very much.
never even really talked about it until we were like way later in our adulthood.
Right. Well, I mean, and like for instance, this conversation today, there have been times where, our paths have crossed and we may be discussing synchronicities or things or just I don't know. It's very interesting when our paths always tend to cross.
100%.
Maybe it's not all coincidence.
I don't think it is. I think that it's possible that, who knows if whether you believe this or not, but I think our paths have crossed before, and I think that they're going to cross again.
Yeah, I totally get that. And there's been people that I've met before that people say you learn life lessons from different people. They come and go, and I fully believe that there's certain people that are just you're supposed to have interactions on some sort of level.
Absolutely.
Like they're
Yeah.
put in your
Absolutely.
path.
Yep.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I guess some people would call it fate, but then people don't like the word fate because then that means that destiny is determined, but who knows?
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah, that is one way of looking at it.
Well, of the many things that you boys share, one commonality, what we're going to kind of approach in this episode, is near-death experiences. So maybe let's get into that a little bit.
So the crazy thing about these is I'm pretty sure Eric feels the same way as this scenario. Okay. It can probably be summed up very quickly. Accidents happen, or, when people, for example, get in like a car crash, that happens like within seconds, and it can be probably summed up within a couple minutes.
Fair.
But realistically, to that person that's going through that event, it doesn't feel like it's like a couple seconds. Like it feels like time's extended or something.
Elongated.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's a strange
Have a
feeling.
time dilation.
Yeah, exactly. So, Do you have any questions you want to ask us before we talk about them, or?
Well, I can maybe ease you guys into it a little bit.
Yeah. I don't mind because I mean mine is super short. There are things that I kind of remember about it, and there's things that I don't. So it could be just more of a good example of how sometimes each one of these are very different. What people experience is totally different. So
Absolutely.
Right.
I feel like that would be a good comparison. Whereas mine is short, I'm sure that you have maybe more details on yours.
Sure. Yeah. Go ahead, man.
Sounds
I
good.
guess. Awesome. Okay. Well, not really awesome, but it did.
Right.
So
I got you.
basically, when I would say, I think it was about maybe 2 or 3, I had to undergo a surgery, a glaucoma surgery. And what's really bizarre, there's a moment I believe in everyone's life where you become lucid, where your memory, like people say, oh, I can remember back until a certain point, and then things may get really fuzzy. I mean, is that fair to say?
Yeah.
I don't want to interrupt, but like I was literally just thinking about this earlier. I don't think I became fully conscious until this incident. Like I was aware, but like I wasn't really aware until this happened to me.
Yeah. See, that's really interesting because
So I get
that's
it. Yeah.
exactly, yeah.
Wow.
I know some people they say they remember their birth and all of this, and that's cool. They very well may, and that could be due to something traumatic. But basically, I remember being on the operating table, and suddenly I'm just sort of looking around, and I'm like, okay, well, I know that I can't be looking around because, well, they were doing surgery on my face. But then I'm thinking, okay, what's going on? Am I dreaming? And I can just remember there was a ringing in my ears that was just a very particular ringing. It was a really low kind of a ring and more like a hum and a ring. I don't know. It's really hard to describe, but I can hear it, you know. And I know a lot of people say that they see a bright light, and that is what I saw. It is, I mean, it seems very stereotypical, but that's just kind of what I saw. Thought that this was kind of just something that I had maybe a false memory of until I got much older. And then my mother told me that they gave me some sort of anesthetic, and it stopped my heart. But apparently it didn't stop it for very long at all. What's interesting though is like time seemed to slow down really significantly. So I don't know exactly how long not too long is because, doctors sometimes they don't want to scare the parent. That's really all that I remember about my experience. But even more strange is that now I don't have a memory of this. I have just some sort of gap in it. But I was sitting on the floor one day and I was watching daytime television, living out in the middle of nowhere, 4, 6, and 12, and 29 if you're lucky. Like that was the stations that you got.
Right.
Um, so I was told that I was sitting on the floor watching TV, and they were going over near-death experiences and things like that. And I'm watching the television, and when this man started explaining his experience and they started showing the imagery on the screen, apparently I jumped up and I pointed at the TV and I was like, I've seen that. My mom, it just freaked her out because she had known what happened. So she started kind of asking questions. So it's very interesting.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
for
and that's
sure.
really, like I said, that's all I can really remember of it.
I got
But it's
you.
weird that memory so far back, and then I remember the conversation. So not a false memory.
No kidding.
That's crazy.
And it's strange too, because like sometimes if you don't remember that experience very well, or you think it's something that like a false memory or like a dream that you remember having, but then you have that moment where you're like, oh shit, this has actually happened. And it's so
Right.
keyed in your brain that 30, 40 years later, and here you are, you're still remembering everything
Hmm.
clear as day, vivid
Right.
as it just happened.
Hmm. Yeah.
So just kind of going over that story a little bit, you said that you woke up when you crossed over, if we're going to call it that, you know what I mean? Did it
Mm.
feel like a boundary was being crossed, or like you were being pulled through a bubble, or like a veil was being lifted?
So the sensation that I can remember is sort of like moving through. It's almost as if you have a sheet. You have like a really thin sheet that's laid on top of you. If you were to be lifted up and you can still feel the drag of the sheet. Like when people say moving through jello or moving through mud or something, that's
Okay.
kind of what it felt like.
Hmm.
I wonder if that's where they get the veil idea or concept
Hmm.
from, that like sheet like feeling.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah.
It's an interesting
Interesting.
thought.
Don't mean to jump too far ahead, but in my experience too, one of the sensations that I get, it had a similar feeling to me as an astral projection would feel as well.
That's so funny.
Really, yeah.
Yeah,
Uh,
with the golden cord, if you're familiar with that.
Hmm.
yeah, the gold or silver cord that people talk about.
Hmm.
Yeah, yeah. By chance, have you ever seen yours?
I have not.
That's interesting because a few times that I've astral projected, I've never seen this silver or gold cord that people say. I guess it's essentially like a soul tether, like it's tethering your soul to your body. And I kind of had this
Yeah,
theory that maybe some of us who have crossed over, like maybe this cord's already broken. And like that's kind of why we have these one foot in the door kind of experiences a lot
right.
more.
No, I can see that.
I don't know. I mean, maybe that's why it makes it kind of more potentially dangerous, I guess. I'm not too sure about like there's times I feel like completely fine with, my lucid dreams and even the astral projections that I used to have.
Hmm.
But I mean, there were some creepy shit in the past. So,
Oh, for sure.
so
Astral projection and lucid dreams, there's been times where they seem, for me, you have a weird kind of calm that comes with them. But then there's other
Mm.
times where almost you have this kind of, I took a wrong turn
yeah,
feeling.
yeah, like almost like
Mm.
a dread, like a oh shit,
Yeah.
like where am I
Yeah,
at? This is the wrong alley. Yeah.
exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. Totally get that, man.
So you said that you heard a lot of like ringing and humming when you were transitioning. Were there any voices or other sounds or significant silences that you can recall?
The only thing that I can really remember is the humming. Now, I remember it almost sounded like when people talk, it's almost like an echoey sort of, oh man, I wish I could give a good example. Sort of like feedback in a microphone when it doubles up on itself, where
Yeah.
it sounds like a busy crowd, but then, yeah. So that's kind of what the voices in the room sounded like. Because I could see everyone in the room doing their thing.
That was one of my other questions.
Like
Yeah,
I
that
could
was
hear them and they were doing their thing. Like there was nothing really, yeah, they were business as usual.
so that was like full OBE.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes.
So even though they were going about their business and you saw them going about their business, you felt like time was kind of slow, almost like a
Yeah.
grogginess, like being in a dream type thing.
Right. Almost that same sensation of when you're trying to run in a dream and
Yeah.
your body's not moving where you want it to go.
That's so funny because that's exactly what I envisioned when you had
Hmm.
mentioned it.
Yeah. For your like lucid dreams or the I don't know if you've ever had any of the sleep paralysis stuff.
Oh, they're hand in hand.
So so then then does that ringing sound like the sleep paralysis ringing?
They're very similar. They're a different frequency. And to me, my personal opinion on that is just you're picking up your brainwaves. That's my opinion on it.
I
Right.
And all
love
these
it.
different states have different brainwaves sort of associated with them. Just like in the episode when y'all were discussing the devices and things that put your brain into a different state, the brainwave generators and things.
Right. Yeah.
Yes.
I think there's a lot of well, I mean, there is believed that there's a lot of these frequencies that can put you into these states. And I think if you've ever used any of those tools and you come across where there's like, oh, this one will make you sleepy, this one will whatever,
Right.
they definitely do work. So it'd be interesting to know I don't know. Sorry, I don't mean to get off in the weeds.
No,
I'm
I love
actually, my
that.
brain is just thinking.
No,
Um,
it's all good, man.
Beautiful tangent.
I mean,
We're good.
that's how I am all
mm,
the time about this stuff. It's like the binaural beats things. Like I've tried it a couple of times, and I'm like, did it work? I'm not sure if it works. And then it's like,
mhm,
I feel like a lot of this stuff is me being my own scientist with half this, different types of things, like trying things,
yep,
and some things work, some things don't. I feel like that goes for saying for like a lot of this stuff. Like a lot of people are like, oh, this worked great for me, but then half of it doesn't work at all for anybody. So it gets kind of poo
right.
pooed on.
Yeah, I agree. And I think that a lot of it has to do with just, it may sound a little woo woo to a lot of people, even, you know, just the simple, just lucid
Right.
dreaming
Mm-hmm.
and sleep paralysis. These are topics that people don't really discuss too often. And I think it's a shame because this is something that's very, it's very unique. Like it's something that we all kind of share. And I feel like the more that we share it, the more that we become in tune with that. And it just seems as though it's a shame that we don't share more of our dreams.
Right. Yeah, 100%. I mean, and that's kind of why I decided to go ahead and do the podcast because I was like, there's too many similarities with all these things. And I think everybody's screaming, demons over here,
Hmm.
Batman in the closet over there. And
Right,
it's like,
right, right, right.
we're looking right past the dreams. And like, it's literally a third of
Mhm.
our life that we're just overlooking. And
Right.
like everybody wants to go immediately to its evil stuff, but I mean, there's a lot of psychology behind all this stuff too. So,
Absolutely. And we're not the first people to make these assumptions about, out of body experiences
Oh
and
yeah,
near death experiences. Like this
not
has
by a
gone on
mile.
for as long as people. Yeah, exactly. And everyone has their way of explaining these things, but
right,
there seem to be, a lot of common threads between them. And at some point you have to say, huh, okay, maybe there's a little bit more. Let's investigate it.
exactly. I mean, we're talking about like a couple thousands of years at least that we know for sure that we have what's left of written records that people did actively participate in stuff like this. So
Absolutely.
it's
Mm-hmm.
We were a very vital part of some cultures.
Oh
exactly,
yeah.
yeah.
Oh, I did have one other question for you.
Okay,
So, it might be two questions. I'm sorry.
no, you're good.
At any moment, did you feel like a deep sense of knowing? I know that you were younger and the experience, and maybe it's even more of a reflectory type of question and answer. But at any moment,
Hmm.
did you feel a deep sense of knowing, as if everything finally made sense?
That's a really good question, and I I don't know that I felt that. The only thing that I really felt at that moment was just like everything was still. Like that was really the only way that I could describe that sensation. There wasn't you know, a homecoming feeling or something like that, like it was just very still.
I got you.
Hmm.
So we kind of talked about those sleep machines as well. If of course the threat of death and demise was out of the equation, but would you ever want to revisit that place? And if so, what would you do differently?
Ooh. Um Yeah, I don't know. Wow, that's a it would be really interesting to revisit that moment just to probably see exactly what. Oh wow, yeah. Because then I could kind of compare that to other experiences, that sensation, get more in tune with all the sensations and compare those to, like the ringing in my ear now,
Mm.
the all these different things, like that moment of stillness. How does that compare to, you know, uh, 30 minutes of meditation? Is that the same stillness that I get?
Right.
It'd be interesting.
Yeah, kind of putting your mind into that new space.
No, that was
Hope that
kind
was a
of.
fair answer. That's exactly where
No,
I.
for sure.
Okay.
She threw you she threw you a
Well,
curveball.
no, I really had to think about that. I was like, wow, okay, yeah. How would I approach that? Honestly, that's one of the reasons why I like listening to you both because you pose really good questions, and sometimes it may be something where I'm like, I had that exact same thought, and y'all just kind of explore it a little bit more, and it's actually improved my dream recall significantly, just being involved in listening to the different stories.
Wow,
Good. That's good to hear.
most excellent to hear. Yeah, no kidding.
Most excellent.
Most excellent. Very
I feel like a
rad.
Bill and Ted riff goes in here.
Oh, there's the
And
deal,
you know,
Rail.
something else is really cool is like, so when I was in high school, I felt like the biggest nerd ever because I spent the majority of my high school time sleeping. I know, big shocker, but I got
Me
really
too.
uh I I heard about this thing called lucid dreaming on Jeopardy. And it was the strangest. Like, I remember this just so vividly because I could care less about what was going on TV. But he started talking about lucid dreaming, and I stopped and I listened. And it was just like, from that moment, I wanted to read and learn as much as I possibly could about this. And this was back in the 2000s, literally to year 2000. And so the internet was a very different place than what it is now. So finding that information it was pretty difficult. Luckily, I found a little community, and I really did feel like I'm probably going to butcher this word, an onironaut, someone who explores dreams.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
like
for sure.
the Onoroi.
Yeah,
Yeah, the Greek Onoroi.
Onoroi. Okay,
Yeah, I got
but
you.
this was when I first heard about all these different techniques to like induce lucid dreaming. And when you mentioned the Nova Dreamer, it was like a
Mm.
wave of nostalgia hit me so hard because I wanted that machine so bad. Like,
So expensive for its time
oh
too.
my God. And for someone in high school, there was no way I was going to get that. Like, there's no, that's not happening.
You're gonna have to save
So,
up all your lunch money.
oh my God.
You
I
can't
would
do
have
that in
to,
high
no.
school, but
I would have
that's
to start saving up your lunch money too. Like,
yeah. Yeah, these were like state of
yeah.
the art and they were not cheap. It's like I think at the
No.
time they were like thousands of dollars and uh, yeah, when did they come out? It was like
I believe it had been around for a minute. I know they stopped production in 2004.
right. Okay, I knew something to
Hmm.
do with them around 2003 and 4, but I wasn't sure what it was. So that must have
Mm.
been what it
Which
was.
would have been an absolute soul crushing event had I saved up the money somehow. And by
Discontinue.
graduation year, they just discontinue it.
It's like the commercial with the fishing pole, and there's like $1 on the end of it.
Oh,
And then he
yeah,
jerks
got
it
it.
off.
Yeah,
No, almost had it.
absolutely.
So
Oh
close.
my God. Yeah.
Oh, so
My Nova Dreamer was basically just an app on my computer, and it was just a speaker called Pillow Talker, and it sat underneath my pillow, and it would give me audio cues during certain points of the night, just on a timer, so that it would indicate to myself I would hear it, and I would know, hey, do a reality check.
Nice.
that's wild.
Yeah, dude, it worked. It absolutely did.
And the crazy thing is, I think the first time I ever realized what it was, I think you were the one who had told me about lucid dreaming because whenever I had all these experiences myself, I was kind of like,
Mhm.
I don't know what the hell is going on. Like,
Yeah.
I talked to my mom, they brought me to like a shrink. like, I remember going in like a dark room and this guy was asking me all kind of questions about like
Oh man.
hearing voices and all kind of crazy stuff.
Mm.
And did it sound like
Mhm.
my dad or whatever? I'm like, what is
Oh
going
no.
on? And I've been hearing people
Yeah.
talk about this gate program and stuff, and I'm like, was that what it was?
Yeah.
Like, because I remember them doing some weird stuff with like the little spectrograph and asking me
Mm.
all kind of like weird questions in the little symbols and
The
stuff.
shapes.
I don't
Yeah.
know if they ever do that.
See,
Do you remember that? And they brought us in like a
man,
trailer outside of school.
see, that's so crazy. Like, I do not have a memory of that, but I have ran into so many different people that have that memory. And also, I got removed from the smart classes, so they didn't want my brain.
Me too, bro.
I
Yeah.
finished last in class. I can't believe I'm saying this. It's like for the world to hear, but I found the easiest way possible,
School
straight
is
line through
Yeah.
school, and it wasn't working hard.
But school is
Yeah.
not a good way to measure intelligence.
Until I realized it kind of tanked my GPA, but
No.
no, I mean I'm like I have a pretty high IQ, but my EQ sucks. So my people talking to me is like, this guy's like an asshole.
Yeah. Well, it happens.
Oh, so okay. Well, I guess I can
Well, shift gears.
dip my toes in the water.
Yeah.
Oh, bad
That-
pun.
What is that? What do they call that?
Was it-
Foreshadowing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I guess so.
Ugh. All right.
Well, why don't you start by sharing what led up to your near-death experience? What can
Bad
you remember
parenting
happening?
and drugs.
Mm.
What can you remember happening just before?
So we went out to where my grandmother had a house, and it was, Eric, you'll know it.
Already picturing it.
I don't remember which creek it was. I keep wanting to say it was Indian Creek, but everybody keeps telling me that that's wrong. But it could have even been closer to Deweyville. But she had a house that was off the side of a creek, and there was like a tiny little bridge you had to cross over, but we would take this little dirt road to the right. And I remember we went there, and I think it was during the summer.
About how old were you?
I think I was 7. I'm pretty sure I was around 7 years old. It would have been right around the time I actually moved to the same district that me and Eric met in, probably directly after this scenario, because a lot of things in my life changed around that time. So yeah, I was probably about 7. That's what I was saying. Like before that, I have very limited memory of my life. I remember having chicken pox as a kid at one point. I remember getting burned by a cigarette, and everything else seems so blank. What I was saying earlier was like that moment made me conscious in a different way. I don't know. Maybe it gave me a different understanding or outlook on the way my life was.
Like you're lucid for life.
Maybe. I don't know.
Yeah. Shaken awake.
Right, exactly. And being such a young kid, like I didn't know what was going on. Like it took me probably at least 5 or 6 years before I even realized the scenario of it all. Because I mean, nobody in my family was going to talk to me about it or knew anything about it. Most of them kind of denied it. But yeah, so we went out there to my grandmother's house, and they were drinking, and everybody was hanging out as like a sandbar. That's what people do down there. And me and my younger cousin, we were out on a little dock, and it was these wooden pallets that were roped together to make a dock. So it really wasn't that stable. It was like a floating dock, kind of.
Yeah.
I remember me and him were standing on a dock, and this older gentleman was standing there, and he was telling us to be careful. And I don't remember what we were doing. We were kind of on the edge, and we were like looking in the water. Pretty much the next thing I know, like I'm underwater, and it's weird. It was like a weird sensation. I remember like hitting the water and then immediately being pulled underwater, but it was like the surface of the water was warm because it's like hot as hell in Texas. So it was like the water felt warm, but I guess I was in like a riptide, and it just like yanked me under the water so fast. I could feel the change in temperature, like in the water. Like it got cold, like really quick. It pulled me down so fast. And I remember like looking up, and I could see the sunlight getting darker and darker. That water is not clear. You're not in the Bahamas down there. So it got very dark very quick. It was like being pulled under and floating in the water. It changed to where I was like kind of weightless and like floating in almost nothing. Like it's kind of weird to describe. And the light where the sun was had become like a tiny little bitty speck of light. Like I could see a little tiny dot of light. And like I was kind of just floating there, and there was nothing. Like I couldn't see stars. It wasn't like I was floating in outer space or anything. It was completely black, and all I could see was like the little dot of light, right? And I was kind of floating towards it, but I really wasn't moving that fast or anything. And almost instantaneously, I heard two separate voices. The first one was like it sounded very agitated or very mad or upset, and it was a woman's voice. Like it sounded very feminine, made a firm statement. It pretty much said no. It said a couple other things. I don't I don't know if I want to say exactly everything it said, but then there was a second voice that sounded like an old man, like probably an old man who had too many Marlboros in his days. It's like a raspy old voice.
Right.
And it was kind of like I'm pretty sure it said, "It shall be done." And like just like that. It's like,
Mm.
and I talked to my dad a couple weeks ago about this because I was always under the assumption that like we were brought up Catholic or whatever. That's what my grandparents' religions were. But he had told me like, no, like at the time, whenever that would have happened, I wouldn't have known anything about any kind of religion. So he was like telling me like, I don't know, but you shouldn't have had any kind of, religious experience. So he was like, I don't know what that is. That's kind of strange.
Interesting.
And oh man, I want to say what the female voice said, but I know I'm gonna get so much backlash on this.
Come on, just do it. Peer pressure.
Oh,
Do it.
do it. I'll tell you guys after we're done recording what it said, but I think I want to keep it to myself what it called me exactly. I mean, I don't even know what that, like, for the longest time, I didn't know what that even meant whenever it happened. And even to this day, I still don't know what that is because I'm not gonna go around telling people like I'm some kind of prophet, for one.
Sure.
And I don't think I've ever received any prophecies or anything like that. Like I do feel like I have some on point intuition, but
we've had that conversation before.
right, yeah. I just don't know what it means, and I mean maybe it would mean something later on in my life, but I try not to think about the wording of it as much as maybe it was intended for something else. So that happened, and then it was almost like a flash in a movie, like the next scene. And
Yeah.
I remember I was standing and my feet were like in the water on the very edge of the shoreline, and I was just standing there looking, and I could see people surrounded in a circle almost, and people were like running around, and it was like it kind of like you said, like time, it was almost like time slowed down. And this is one of my what I consider an out of body experience that I had after my NDE. It kind of happened in like a reverse effect. Like I think I went somewhere or something, and then I ended up in an OBE before snapping back to my body because I walked up to the group of people, and then whenever I looked down, it was myself, and it was like almost as soon as I looked at myself on the ground, it was almost like somebody punched me in my chest, and
Yeah.
like just yanking feeling back into my body, and then I was on the ground. And in that instance, everything was in color, so that's why I always say that that was a different experience from like my astral projection stuff, because most of my astral projection has been hued like in weird colors or something like that. This instance was the only one that I've had that was in full color, and I could definitely feel almost like the sun. Like I could see everything was still bright. It was normal. It was just such a crazy experience. From what I was told, at least, I was unconscious for about 6 minutes or so. I don't know how long I was under the water. Probably about a minute or two before they got me. They were all drunk and drinking, and it was
Mhm.
early '90s, so they weren't going to call the cops or ambulance about it because CPS would have been involved.
Yeah, just walk it off, kid.
Yeah.
So
And I mean, Bob brought the AC/DC CD, and we have to listen to the full thing now. We can't stop anything. Come on.
nah, bro, he'll
Having
be
fun at
fine,
the
man.
sandbar. Yeah.
Just give him one of those wine coolers.
Yeah. Yeah.
Give him
Give
a
him
Zima.
just, yeah. No,
No.
you're not lying. Yeah. Man. So, I have a question for you. So you can make the distinction between like the sensation that you had from your NDE to what an OBE feels like. Like they have different sensations. Like that is like, did that feel different for you whenever you had, like, if you think back to the sensation you had with your near death experience and an OBE?
Yeah, I think there is a definite difference in the feeling.
Mm.
So my OBE, whenever I was walking to my body, it didn't feel any different than if I would have been walking in my body normally.
Mm.
My astral projection, it's almost felt like I don't even know how to explain it. Like I bet like I was sandbagged. Like if I get in that state, it's almost so much resistance,
Right.
like moving that it's almost like you're walking. Like if you've ever been in a really good windstorm, you can feel
Mhm.
the atmosphere pushing you back. It felt like that for astral
Yeah.
projection, and the other one was kind of like just no resistance at all. Like I was just plainly walked back to my body.
Like I wasn't fighting you.
Yeah.
Yeah, see, that's what I was thinking too. Like you're in a different space, and one you're freely moving because this is a quite an experience that you're having. And then the other one with astral projection is like 1 foot out of your body and 1 foot in.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's pretty crazy because so right after that happened is whenever I started experiencing all my sleep paralysis stuff was after that near death
Mm,
experience. And I think it was quite a few years before I ever even knew like I lucid dream before that, and up to that point, like there was times in my dreams where I controlled them and I had no idea that that was even a thing or that people could do that.
yeah.
I think whenever I heard you talk about it, I think that's whenever I kind of started looking into the astral projection stuff. That's when
Hmm.
I was like, okay, this is something completely different. This is like a next level kind of thing. And um,
Yeah.
the first time I would consider my astral projection like was a total accident, and it was mainly because I was panicking because I was having like a
Hmm.
sleep paralysis experience, and like I was like struggling in my body so hard. I felt like I just popped out of my body, I guess. Like body
Wow.
just went on eject mode and I was out of there.
No, I can definitely sympathize with that. Like that sensation. Yeah.
I mean, over the years, seeing all this weird stuff, like I tell people, like, I've went to plenty of doctors. If all this stuff, like I've
Right.
told the doctors, and if they really thought I was crazy or whatever, I definitely wouldn't be just walking around, working on $80,000 pieces of jewelry every other day.
Right.
Like I've had some pretty decent doctors and some pretty skeptical ones, I guess. But
Yeah.
some of them have been pretty open-minded to, they're like, we don't know what happens whenever we die, so who knows what you
Yeah.
experienced.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
And I've kind of found too that people just aren't, again, they're not willing to talk about these kind of things, especially in the medical community. They're not interested in that because they're hard to quantify.
right, it's if we bring it to science, they need hard facts, and this
Hmm.
is one of those pseudoscience things. It could be all speculative. It's all part of our psyche, so everybody is going to have a different experience depending on where you are in the world or how you were raised,
Right.
and it's it's very subjective to people, so yeah, they don't like it.
So I did have a good question for you because you kind of talked about the light and the color of the place that you were in when you had that out of body experience.
Okay.
What did it look like to you in that space? Like, was it very vivid, or was it as vivid as a dream, or was it kind of shadows and colors?
Like in my near death experience,
Yes.
it was it was like all darkness. Like I couldn't see what was talking.
No, but you heard something.
Yeah, I definitely audibly heard two different voices.
So my question about that is, if these are beings or entities, whatever we want to call them, are they speaking to you in words? Were they telepathically giving you messages?
You know, I mean, it could be that, or they could, I, yeah, I have no idea. I mean, that's why the podcast is here. Trying to figure all this out.
Yeah.
So, do you think that they had form, or because it was so dark, you really couldn't tell?
I tried looking around, but I couldn't turn my body. It was like I was kind of suspended in animation, like I was floating in just darkness. The only thing I could see was like a tiny, like if you were in a completely black room and somebody like poked a pinhole, on the wall, and you could see like a
Mhm.
little speck of light through it. That's about what it looked like. It was complete
Mm.
darkness except a little pinprick of light.
Would you consider that the light at the end of the tunnel?
I don't know. I know psychologically I was definitely looking at the sun whenever I
Mm.
was underwater, and I could watch it fading.
Mm.
So I don't know if that's just, part of my brain trying to put that together, the light of the tunnel kind of thing, or I mean, I don't really know. Could have been.
It's a valid assessment to that.
Yeah. I mean, it seemed like whatever the feminine voice was very upset that I was in that state.
So, was there a point where you felt like you could choose whether or not to stay or return? Because you kind of said that you got like sucked back into your body, but was it your choice that did it, or was it just like you were on a timer and it was time to get back?
Okay, so it's kind of strange. In the moment, I wasn't even thinking about that I was dead or that death existed or anything. I was kind of more questioning the voices because I felt like I was speaking out, like, who's there,
Hmm.
trying to get a response. And anything I was saying, I can't even remember now if vocally saying it or if it was just like mentally me saying this stuff. But like they were clearly ignoring me. They did not respond to anything I said. Like I don't think I had a choice. I think I was coming back no matter what.
You have no say in this.
Or pretty much. I mean, it was like it's just definitive like no. Like it was so
Yeah.
angry.
Wow.
And it was like send homie back. It's like it's done. Stamp.
Yeah.
So we got the wrong
Wow.
guy.
So, since your experience, and I feel like I know your answer here, but I still have to ask, since the experience, have you felt any differently than you can tell?
Yeah. um
I was actually gonna ask the same thing because yeah.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that whole experience has cracked my whole concept of life wide open. It's hard to explain. I think I experience things differently now than most people would. Like I pick up on weird shit,
Mm.
like I've had my eyes checked 1,000 times because I feel like I'm seeing floaters or weird stuff all the time in the corners of my eyes or whatever, and it's just hmm.
More sensitive?
Yeah. I would say I definitely have some kind of heightened intuition or whatever you want to call it.
And you think that has a lot, like a direct relation to the experience you had when you were 7?
I think so. I think I've been at least more aware since then, for sure.
Okay.
If it didn't increase, anything, it definitely made me more aware of, I guess, alternate realities, even if you want to go there with it. I mean, just
Mm,
other worldly things out of our normal lives kind of stuff.
just beyond the physical experience.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
I gotcha. So you experienced those voices, but that was more in the near death experience portion rather than the OBE itself. Is that right?
Yeah. Whenever I was like on the shoreline, I don't think I could hear anyone at all, actually. I could like see everybody kind of moving around, but I don't think I heard any noise at that point whenever I was walking back to my body.
And you didn't see any other like shadow figures or deceased relatives. Some people say they like commune with dead relatives. Did you see the Grim Reaper? Did he bring you flowers?
No, no, I didn't get the full life recall or greeted by, my great great grandfather, nothing like that.
Man, they didn't even roll the red carpet out for you.
No, it was a very weird
You
one,
got, you
man.
got, yeah, you got gypped on that one.
No kidding.
I know everybody's like, I got it my whole life recall, and I got to see a tunnel with lights, and
Yeah.
it was everything was peaceful. I'm like, mine was confusion. I was confused the whole time. I'm still confused,
Yeah.
like almost 40 years later.
Gave you the dollar store book version, and half the pages are still missing.
Yes.
Like you just didn't get the full thing, man.
100%.
Hey, at
I feel
least
like
you have a lot more recall for what happened. I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing though, but I mean, it's
yeah.
interesting that you have such a wow.
Yeah, I mean, I've talked to some therapists about it quite a bit, so I've
Mm,
and it's one of those things, it's part of the PTSD stuff that I kind of deal with. Like whenever I was younger, I was
mm,
horrified of going anywhere back near water. Like after that, like I didn't want nothing to do with any kind of water. And
really? I mean,
yeah,
it stands to reason.
yeah, I mean, it definitely took me a long time. Like I was probably in my mid 20s before I ever really considered going, oh, let's go to the beach or go hang out at the creek again. Like I was like, nope.
Huh.
Like I would rather have like when my mom and stepdad used to go out on their boat. Nope.
Mm,
I'm going to grandma's house for the
yeah.
weekend.
Oh. See, I
Yeah.
didn't know I didn't know that. I didn't pick that up from you though.
Yeah, dude, I was totally horrified of being near water, especially open water.
Yeah.
Nope.
Sure, sure.
So,
Mm.
but yeah, I mean, as far as my own analysis, it kind of led into sleep paralysis and me kind of figuring out the lucid dreams and all this other stuff. And
Hmm.
it took a long time, like over the years. I mean, I think I've had sleep paralysis for, oh man, it's probably 30 something years. It's gotten
Wow.
way less frequent, I would say, in the last decade. And I
Hmm.
almost wonder if it has to do with like when we're kids and we have more of an imagination and an ability
Right.
to maybe perceive things differently or pick up on more stuff. I feel like as we get
Hmm.
older, we might kind of lose, our attunement to certain things. But
I
yeah,
I definitely could see that. You know, I have some, I have kind of lost the ability to have full on dreams and or lucid dreams for years now. I have no idea what happened. Been trying to keep a dream journal and do all that. Occasionally I'll have a lucid dream, but they're nowhere near the clarity that you get, hence the name, lucid.
right,
Um,
Mm.
for some reason, it seems as though I'm lucid, but I'm watching everything through a veil.
Like it gets a
right.
little fuzzier.
That's like the other day.
Yeah.
I think I mentioned it on the last. last episode I did or not. I can't remember. But I remember becoming lucid in a dream a couple weeks ago. Like I was looking in this damn hole in the ground, and I was like aware that it was a dream, and like for some reason my brain was just like, we're just gonna go with it. I'm not gonna do anything. And I was kind of
Yeah.
like, I woke up and I was like, I was totally fully lucid in that dream, and I just kind of just let it play out.
Like your brain was
Yeah.
lazy.
Yeah, like it just was just like, oh, it's just I'm just gonna let this one go on autopilot.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I mean, and that's what's hard though with lucid dreaming is like, it seems as though we get to that point where we don't pay attention to our dreams. We just wake up and we forget about them. But like, man, I used to have lucid dreams. When I say every time that I would go to sleep, like I felt like I had unlocked some weird superpower. Like that's why I say I was a fanatic about lucid dreaming, because I just thought it was the best thing, that you would be able to extend the time that you had to just be aware. Like you could, why would I not want to be awake whenever I'm sleeping? I'm recharging and I get like free entertainment and do whatever I want. Hello, okay, that sounds great.
I know, it's like
And it's
superpowers.
like, dude, exactly. You know, and then actually exploring those realms, and like, then you find out that, hey, you know, astral projection is a part of it. And then you experience that and you're like, okay, I've got this. Like, I'm now like exploring a whole different part of maybe my brain, maybe somewhere else. I don't know, but this was definitely different than lucid dreaming. And then the sleep paralysis comes in with it as well. They're like all rolled in together. But all of that has went down to probably about 1% now. And I'm like, is this because what happened? I went too far into this, or did I hit my head without knowing and now I've lost my ability? What's up? Like what?
See, that's
So,
kind of like with my astral projection, and it just kind of abruptly stopped. And I remember the last time I had it was like this weird interaction where I was trying to leave my body because the stupid shadow figures or whatever were messing with me as usual. And then it was like I got myself out of my body, and it was like one of the first times that I had the shadows interact with me directly. And it was almost like they were grabbing me. Like I felt like it felt like a bunch of little hands grabbing me and pulling me back into my body. And I was freaking out even more because I was like, wait, normally whenever this happens, they disappear, like they
yeah.
kind of vanish. And you know, whenever I was younger, I was like, these things are all evil, they're all demons. But
Right.
I had talked to somebody who was like, maybe one of them was kind of like a warden or something and was trying to keep me from doing that. So like I'm wondering, like maybe some of us can do this kind of stuff and things don't want us there. I don't know.
That's fair.
It's all speculation, but
I could understand that.
it's just weird. Like, you know, at first I was like, oh, it's, you know, all evil, but like, why would it not want me to leave my body? If, you know, like I've heard a lot of people are like, oh, if you leave your body, they'll possess you. But this thing forced me back in my body. So
Right.
it's just, I just don't know what that was. I might have had one more since then. But I mean, the lucid dreaming's pretty common. I've gotten to where I'm pretty aware of like when I'm in a dream most of the time, because the stuff that happens in my dreams are kind of bonkers. It's just obvious stuff. Like you'll see a relative that you know is like either passed, like a sibling or somebody who's like way too young, or just
Right.
things that are out of place. And it's like, okay, this is a dream. But
my keyboard's made out of marshmallows.
yeah.
My house is never this clean.
So,
Well, I appreciate you sharing for sure. Both of you.
Yeah, absolutely.
know everybody's gonna yell at me and
Yeah. Well,
It's
I
okay,
mean,
you're not the first.
I'm not prophesizing anything. If I find anything out,
no.
I'm not telling nobody.
Yeah. You know, and I brought it up a bit ago, but like I do remember very distinctly when you said sometimes you just feel like you know things. Everyone has this, you know, oh, well, I could have saw that coming. But like sometimes you and I see things a little too like on the nose.
Right.
And yeah, I honestly go back to that conversation because I was like, man, I'm like, it's weird when you know something without a fact. You can call it so far ahead. And you're like, why do I even know this? Why? I'm not even concerned about this. And it may be a month, it may be a year, but whenever it is, it happens. And you're like, huh, yeah, well, that played out exactly right.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And the crazy thing for me, most of the time, whenever the stuff like that happens, it's the times that I don't say anything. Like, if I don't say
Mm-hmm.
anything about it, it's like, bam,
Mm-hmm.
happens identically. If I was to be like, oh, I just had this weird vision, no, wouldn't happen. But if I have like this weird intuition or vision in my head of something that plays out and I don't say anything, it's almost like it'll exactly happen that way.
Yeah.
It's wild why it does
Interesting.
that.
Well, I do want to end a little bit of this with that same question that I posed to Eric. If you were given the opportunity to go back to that space, what would you do differently? What would you want to explore more?
I would want to know what the hell was talking. I would want to know what that was all about.
You would try to approach whatever was speaking to you?
I mean, I would have definitely tried to communicate like more effectively, I guess. But no, I mean, other than that, it was a weird feeling. I wouldn't say there was any kind of sense of peace or any kind of sense of dread. It's kind of void of all
Mm-hmm.
emotions. I was just more confused and kind of like, hey, like I'm talking, you guys are ignoring me kind of
Mm-hmm.
thing.
Okay, well, thank you so much, Eric, for coming on the show again. That was great. We appreciate all your support and all the Patreon supporters out there as well.
Yeah, thank you very much for coming on and sharing your story with us.
And it's been really, really cool having the conversations with you today. Until next time, dreamers, keep dreaming and
Join us in discovering what may lie beyond the walls of sleep.